She probably left something. So, Danny, Tony,
What are you doing
Tony.
back here?
I rushed right over.
Okay.
Did Creature call you?
Are you okay? No. Rich called me.
See? Your man is the ops. He's the ops. When did you call Tony?
While you were still on a call with a therapist.
So you were eavesdropping.
No, really?
All right, Sistas fans. Well, today we have the return of season 8. A bit too soon for the taste of not just myself, but a lot of fans. Some people just want the season to be over with. But hey, you know what? We're here. It's 2025, so let's try to get through this season as quickly as possible and, hope and pray season 9. Or let's be honest, I hope 2025 in general treats this series a lot better than what 2024 did. I mean, we got the entirety of season 7, the first half of season 8, and boy, oh boy. So the clip was about 3.5 minutes, and it's basically the follow-up to Danny's panic attack. I don't even know where to start here, because you had Krisha, the therapist, call Sabrina because it's going to be shown that Krisha is going to be the first person to come over to the apartment. So I guess that confirms Danny called her therapist rather than 911 and, verify that it was a panic attack. And she'll ask, is there anybody specific you want to call? And it's Sabrina. So Sabrina comes over. And remember, her and Rich were at the basketball court together. Hence why Rich, came up as well. And eventually Tony comes in. So we have 5 characters total. Now, there are 3 characters who I have to point the finger at in terms of you were in the wrong. Now, Rich comes up, he's just standing towards the door in the background because, as soon as Sabrina takes a seat, Krisha's like, hey, it looks like you're in good hands. I'll take my leave. So Sabrina's asking if Danny's okay. And then she's like, so what's he doing here? Oh, well, Rich. And then Rich's like, well, I was with Sabrina when, she got the call. And when he's like, you know what? Hey, if you want, I can go downstairs and just wait in the car. And he's about to do it. Danny's like, good idea. And Sabrina's like, no, that's silly. And, Sabrina tries to vouch for him saying, hey, he was worried about you too. Well, he's probably the ops. He's probably here to spy on me for Tony. Well, no. Rich is your friend too. But yeah, well, he's more so Tony's friend than mine. And right when it seems like Tony is, Rich is about to, probably take his leave, which would have been best. That's when Tony just knocks on the door like the police. And I think Rich opens it. And then he just, the definition of too much. He just bolts in there what's his name? Usain Bolt. Just shoves Sabrina out of the way. Just shoves her. And remind you, Danny's on the couch. Sabrina's sitting on, the love seat. And just gets knocked aside. Oh, are you okay? Oh, what's wrong? And then Danny does the worst possible thing here and goes off on Tony, saying everything is his fault. It's wrong. The therapy, the triggers, is all you. And it gets to the point where he's just looking dumbfounded at the entire situation, because the question is, who called you? How did you know to come over here? And it turns out that Rich was the one that called Tony. You were eavesdropping? Okay, there's a lot of questions I have with this. So were Sabrina and Rich, we're probably going to see this scene play out once the episode airs tonight, but will Sabrina and Rich be in the car leaving the basketball court, or will they still be at the basketball court? The order of operations could be they're just chilling on the bench. And, Rich is maybe still concerned about what the doctor said, wanting to see him for I guess a discussion on his sample. And then that's when Sabrina gets the call. And if that's the case, yeah, I'm pretty sure if they're sitting on the bench together, or if they're in the same vehicle leaving the basketball court, that Rich would easily be able to hear the conversation. Not to mention, it does bring about the question of, wait a minute, if they were in close proximity, Rich overheard, which makes sense, yet he also called Tony, how would Sabrina not know? But like I said, I'm not going to be too harsh on that because maybe the episode will answer my question when it airs later today. Enough said. So aside from that, Tony is just sitting here like, man, and is he doing too much? Absolutely. But the thing is, that's his woman, you know? And he wants to be there. But for Danni to immediately not just shut him out, but to blame everything on him and then demand he leaves. Yeah, that's the issue, because then when she eventually calms down and wants to try to talk to him, it's like, well, what's said? I feel like, everybody can relate to this. Maybe you got a parent or family member or even a friend that does this. Heaven forbid it be your partner or spouse, where if they're going through something and you're trying to be there and then they just go off on you. And then once, they calm down, they want to try to come back like everything's okay. It's like, nah, I mean, you can apologize. I'll accept it, but I'll never forget how you made me feel. And I'm not trying to make it about me. Just know I was trying to be there for you when you were going through something. But not only did you shut me out, but you blamed everything on me. And I don't think that's the basis of a healthy relationship whatsoever. And everybody's talking about how Danni needs to drop Tony. Tony needs to drop her ass, as far as I'm concerned. Seriously, I mean, to just constantly be walking on eggshells and then have everything blamed on you. Nah, just go back to your ex. Just do that. I mean, shoot. I don't know. And everybody saw she needs Preston. Preston needs to stay as far away from Danni as he can. Danni had multiple seasons, multiple chances, and she let it fall to the wayside. I do like the theory that some people have, like, maybe Danni is just sticking with Tony because she knows she screwed up with Preston. So kind of like how Andy feels like, oh, I deserve everything that's happened to me. I deserve, Gary. I feel like in some ways Danni might have that same feeling with Tony, like, I screwed up a good thing, so now I'm kind of stuck with Tony. And, well, she did. She was the one that chose to cheat on Preston because, remember, she was also the one to ask, how about we make this official between us? And then not even 36 hours later, she's hanging out with Tony. So you did it to your dang self. I don't feel sorry for you. Now the anxiety and panic attacks and all, of course I feel sorry for her there. But in terms of her current relationship, that's all her. She made the bad choices, but I also don't and as much as Tony does overdo it at times, it's coming from a place of love. And I do feel sorry for him that, all the blame falls on him. And yet again, we have a sister who is allergic to accountability. Danni doesn't need Tony. She doesn't need Preston. Danni needs to be by herself. Romantically. Go to therapy, work on her vices, because the alcohol, the weed, the men, those are all vices she needs to learn to wean herself off from. That way she can handle situations like this better. I mean, one has to wonder, had she been drinking and smoking that day as per usual, would she have had that anxiety attack? Because something tells me her not having her usual vices to cope with, and then her having those strong emotions, that's what caused the panic attack. I mean, yeah, she did hit that pin as soon as she went off on Tony, but I don't know. It's kind of like, last year when I did the whole I'm going to quit soda thing, and like for almost a solid week with no soda, no caffeine, because I don't smoke or drink coffee or anything or drink alcohol. So I had no sort of crutch to hold me down as my body was, I guess you could say, getting used to the lack of the pick-me-up that a can of Diet Mountain Dew would usually give me. So I can't even fathom what it's like for Danny, who, you know, usually indulges multiple times per day on that dang pen or some alcohol. So yeah, I think Rich was definitely in the wrong for calling Tony. I can understand where he was coming from though, because yo, Tony's my guy, and if I know that his girl is in trouble, what kind of friend would I be not to say anything? That is completely understandable. That is completely understandable because Sabrina tells Rich, we'll talk about this later. My question is, how many times have the sisters done the same thing? And usually it's not even done out of a place of concern, but for gossip. Like, let's say Karen is going through something with, or let's say Zach is locked up for something. And then, you know, the girls are, you know, gossiping about it. They don't tell Karen or Fatima out of concern. They do it for the sake of, oh, Zach locked up again, that jailbird. Or Panty Man Calvin. Or, you know, Scary Gary. Something like that. I just feel like, you know, even though Rich, I understand, you could say he was wrong, which in some way he was. I can see what I understand the place of why he did what he did. You know, so I guess if nothing else, I'd say that the person who was doing the most was arguably in the wrong the most, which was Tony, which again, I can understand him rushing in there concerned about his lady, but he was doing too much shoving Sabrina out of the way. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Man, just Tony and Danny just need to end it. They just let it go. It ain't worth it. Just no. All right, so that's all I got. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.